Hello, I'm Michelle and welcome back to Somewhere in Bookland. This video is going to be my August wrap-up, and in August Booktubeathon took place. I didn't really read any other books besides what I read in Booktubeathon, besides one. I read 5 books in the month of August. 5. I got in a really bad reading slump and didn't want to read anything at all. 4 of the 5 books were during Booktubeathon. I actually filmed a Booktubeathon wrap-up and never posted it because it was a Booktubeathon wrap-up / newts TBR, and I didn't end up doing the newts. So I didn't see why I would post it when I didn't do the TBR. But since I did already film it, I'm gonna kind of mesh it with this one. The only thing I didn't talk about in the wrap-ups were my ratings. So I'm going to be dressed, and it's gonna be Michelle from the past doing the wrap-up on the Booktubeathon books, and then this Michelle doing the ratings and the last book of the month that I read. Let's just get into it. Michelle from the past, enter. Now, the first book I read for the Booktubeathon was supposed to be Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chachki, because that's what I flipped the coin and it said that book, and I started that book but I didn't finish it. And then I moved on to Arrogant Devil by R.S. Gray. This book follows this girl Meredith who leaves her husband and needs to go find a job and a place to live. So she contacts her half-sister Helen, who sets her up with the job with her boss Jack. So she goes, she meets Jack, and Jack's a cowboy and she like it. I really enjoyed this book. It's R.S. Gray. Not my favorite, but definitely one of my favorites. Actually, it might be my favorite. I really love Meredith's character, and it's just so good. This book made me cry. You go into some of Meredith's past, and I cried. There's this scene with like a broken dish, and I just bawled. And I was in public when I was reading this book, and so that was interesting. But yes, I really enjoyed this book, and it was the first book I read for Booktubeathon, and it was just one of my extra books to hit 7 books, which I did not end up hitting 7 books. I hit 4 books, which is not a pass, but I was pretty happy with it. So Arrogant Devil by R.S. Gray, I did end up giving 5 stars. It is one of my new favorites by her, and I've read a lot of her books, so I loved this book. The next book I read for Booktubeathon was for the Something You Want to Do challenge, and that is Love and Luck by Jen Evans Walsh. And what I want to do is go to Ireland. So I read this book. This is the second book, kind of. It's in the Love and Gelato was the first one, and this is like a companion novel, and I didn't enjoy this one as much. This book follows Addie, who is visiting Ireland, and she finds this guidebook, Ireland for the Heartbroken, and she's heartbroken, so she decides to try and accomplish some of the things in it as a way to escape her mind and her brother's criticism, because they are not getting along right now at all. She ends up going on a trip with her brother Ian and his friend Rowan, all about Ireland, and while it's good, it was just kind of missing a little something that I liked from the first book that I kind of felt was missing out of this book. I'm not rating these books right now because I feel like I need a little more time to think about them. Is this a 3? Is it a 3.5? I don't think it's a 4. Is it a 4? I need to like sit with my feelings for a little bit before I can rate a book. Arrogant Devil's at least a 4, if not a 5. 4.5? I think it's a 5. Arrogant Devil's probably a 5. Yes, Michelle, you did give it a 5 stars. Yay! I'm not good when it comes to rating books. But yes, this one was okay. Like I said, it was just like missing a little something. But yes, This was the second book I read during the book tip-a-thon. Love and Luck by Jenna Evans Walsh. I ended up going with the 3.5 stars on this one. Like I said, it was just missing something and kind of fell a little flat for me. But I will be rounding it down to 3 stars for Goodreads. But yes, 3.5 stars. Now, the third book I read for the book tip-a-thon was my hat book. And that is Archie Volume 2 by Mark Waid. Obviously, graphic novel, very quick to read. They're okay. I really enjoyed the Archie comics growing up. I used to buy them like at the comic book store, the Betty and Veronica ones and the Archie ones, and also anytime like when I went to Winco, they used to have them with like the magazines, like when you were checking out and all the candy and stuff, and I used to buy them, or Food Max or wherever, and I used to convince my mom sometimes to buy me one, and so I keep comparing it to those and it's not the same. I feel like I liked those better. I don't know how I feel about this series yet. This new version. I don't know. But yes, I did keep my hat on the whole time, even though it's hot and highly annoying. Hats off. For Archie, I'm going with a straight 3 stars. It just is different from what I grew up on, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it just makes me want to read the old comics I used to read even more. And I have no idea what I did with all of them. Oh well. And the fourth and final book I read for the book tip-a-thon was another one of my extra books to get to 7 books, and that was Star Touched Stories by Roshani Chachki. I enjoyed this book. I have a review for this book on my channel right there, or there, or there. Not sure where it's gonna be, but there's gonna be a link to my review. It is up, and I received this as an ARC to read as part of the release review tour thing. So yes, Star Touched Stories I did end up giving 4 stars. Like I said, I have a full video review on Star Touched Stories, so I'm just going to link that below. Now, the last book I read in the month of August, I actually read on the 11th, so I didn't read after the 11th until the 1st of this month, and then I've read 2 books since then. Yeah, I didn't read from the 11th on. I was just really not in the mood to read, but the last book I read was Not So Nice Guy by R.S. Gray. Now, Not So Nice Guy is R.S. Gray's newest novel, and it follows 2 friends, Sam and Ian, who are both teachers at the same school. Now, Sam is more of a journalist teacher and Ian is a science teacher. They became fast friends 3 years prior to the book starting, when they were both at their training day to become new teachers for the high school that they teach at. And Sam has had a crush on Ian forever, but she has been stuck in the friend zone ever since one Halloween. She remembers him making a comment, and ever since then she's never even tried. Obviously, this is a friends to lovers romance, and things start heating up between them. I really enjoyed this book. It was hilarious. There was so much comedy in it. It was like a good rom-com movie in book form. There was something that happened like 2/3 of the way-ish through the book that kind of made it a little lower than it would have been for me, because I was just like, really? There's a conflict that comes up, and the way they handled the conflict, I was just like, really? It wasn't super realistic, which, I mean, it's a book. Doesn't necessarily have to be realistic, but it just like threw me off the train of giving it a 5 stars, so it ended up getting a 4 stars from me. And that's the last book I read in the month of August. How many books did you read this month? Probably more than me. Anyways, if you like this video, click the thumbs up. If you want to see more of this face in your feed, click subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!